Hey, all. So we're going to go over how to set up a Google Hangouts Meet. The easiest way to do that is within your Google Calendar. So like if I go up to my Google Classroom, you can get to your Google Calendar from right here. You can also get to it through Google by just typing in Google Calendar. But once I get to my Google Calendar, and I have all of my kind of pieces in here, what I do is I set up an appointment. So I'm going to set up an appointment. And I'm going to say that I'm going to set it up within the Google Classroom, just so that it goes to that specific calendar. That way you would have something to where your students would see it on their Google Classroom calendar. Well, it would populate to there and it would work within their Google Classroom. So that's better. So if you go to the options, and I'm sorry, I went a little fast with that. Let me show you that again. So if you go in, and I'm going to select that Google Classroom again, I'm going to click on the more options because that's where you're going to see the add conferencing. So I'm going to say that this is not an all day thing. Let's say that I'm going to set up a Hangout for A1. Sorry, A1. And I might do it as A1, and let's say that we're going to do like, questions, just like a question session or support session or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to say that, A1, and I'm going to set it during the classroom time. So we're going to set it for 7:40. So I can go in and adjust that. So 7:40, and I'm going to say that it's going to go, maybe I'm just going to set it up for an hour, or I could set it up for the full 90 minutes, but let's say an hour. And this is just to kind of clue students in. It'll populate to their Google Calendar, which is helpful for them. So I already did the Google Classroom here, but I can do that here as well. Let's say that I am going to add conferencing. So that's where we're going to set up the Hangouts Meet. So within here, I'm going to add conferencing. So I'm going to click on that, and it'll give me a code. Now you can just go to the code if you want to start that immediately. Otherwise, you're just going to click save. So once I click save, now it's here on my Google Calendar. It will also be on the student's Google Calendar if they're signed in for your Google Classroom. So now I can join the Hangouts. So I can go through and click that so that it'll go to where the Hangouts are, and I can get started with that. Otherwise, it's just there for me to know, when it's going to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Join Hangouts Meets. As you saw, they can also join by phone. So if that's something that they want to do, we all know how this works. So you might have to verify that it's you. Seem to do this every 3 times. And I'm going to get into my Hangouts. So now there's me, and actually I'm working on this computer, but anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and click join, and that's just getting it set up. So we can go through, and I'll do a different video on what you can kind of do within the Google Hangouts Meets, but that's just to create it. And I can go through and leave and go back to there so I can see that I don't have anything scheduled today. But I can definitely set one up. All right. Any questions, you can leave it in the comments and look for the next video on how to use that.